Hey guys, this is Rainwolf,
And this is Kyrdo Silverheart.
and we are returning with 86. Oh my god.
Holy hell, this episode.
It starts off with the Legion just saying, anyone on this network, here's your targets, go. Mush.
Yeah, an order is issued from No Face to Wide Area Network 1, and the Legion begin to move out a simultaneous attack on all human territories remaining. The Giad Federacy in the east, the United Kingdom of Roa Gracia to the north, the Alliance of Wald in the south, and the Republic of San Magnolia to the west.
Oh. And it starts out with just Shin being Shin.
Shin.
Goes to Raiden, he's like, pulls the pillow, wake up. It's like, I would have liked to wake up before pulling the pillow.
No time.
It's like, oh, they're finally coming. It's like, how many? It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't even try to count. Go wake everybody else up. This is like, and then he's like, this is the worst case imagined.
Yeah, I love the fact that, Shin's been preparing for this for years. He knew it was coming, and he's been, warning people that he can trust and that would listen, that this type of assault is imminent. We don't know when, we don't know exactly how it's going to go down, but we know it's coming. And he's just like, this is pretty much the worst case scenario that I've been planning for.
And the words that come out of his mouth after that is, during the battle today, don't connect to me unless you absolutely have to. And he's sweating.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm feeling tonight is going to be rough. It's like, Roger. Because Raiden understands on what's about to go down.
Yeah, but what we see later, even Raiden wasn't ready for that.
No, he's like, oh, it's not time to stay quiet. And he walks off. In the next moment, we have him with a pistol pointing at somebody in the command.
He sticks up the entire command center at gunpoint and forces them to wake the entire fucking military. I'm like, how much more badass do you have to be, Shin?
And his vice commander or whatever, even says like, this is gonna get the Reaper a bullet to the back. It's like, he's like, and he also says to one guy, it's like, stop talking and get ready. They're all in their units, but what really gets me is that as the cockpit is closing on Shin, Raiden looks over for a moment, and as it closes, there's that grin.
Yes, that's considering the story that Frederica had told about Kiria and how he just had that complete mental snap. Like, the whole time that story was being told an episode or two, a couple episodes ago, I was like, man, if this is foreshadowing, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want this to happen to Shin. And
after that, it pans over. You got these guys sitting in a trench, sniper rifles, high caliber ones at that, just sitting there, like, and they're waiting, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and all you see is just the metallic shimmer of the night sky coming off of this massive, massive unit of Legion drones just shimmering across the plane. And we find out that this is Defense Line 1, so this is the front line of the Western Theater. And all hell just breaks loose.
They all get wiped out. Then there's just one general, and he's like, get up, anyone that survives, pick up your weapons, keep attacking, and then he gets taken out. Like he was nothing. And then the general, she's like, they're going under attack. It jumps over to Shin. It's like, are you ready? They're going. And as they're going in, they're just seeing the number of legions getting taken out on the monitor. It's such a beautiful sight.
Yeah, I love the fact that when Shin radios in and says Nordlich Squadron is ready to go, she was like, how the hell did you mobilize so fast? He was like, we didn't wait for your authority to prepare. We went ahead and got our shit together.
And we'll explain later.
He was like, and you can save the scolding for later. And she was like, fine, I expect you to fill me in on what's going on. Like, that is a level of disrespect and respect between the two of them that is such a thin line. But she knows, that it's the Reaper. She knows that this kid has not been able to keep himself alive and keep his forces alive too, his allies alive for this long without having some sort of intuition and without being ready at a moment's notice like this.
And we see that grin again after this whole conversation. as the fighters are retreating, they're like the lows are coming in, somebody gets shot, and the other guy stops them from going. It's like, don't go, follow me. As they're about to get taken out, Shin just comes out of nowhere, takes out this low like it's nothing. Then we also see how BA the others of the unit are at this point too.
Okay, so I just want to throw this out there. We all know what my handle is for Convention Video, which is also my Final Fantasy handle. We know how much I love Sword Art Online. Karina went full fucking Shinon in this scene. Like, yes, she is scaling up the side of the building. She positions herself. She multi-point targets with pinpoint accuracy, fires one blast that splits off into a couple dozen and takes out an entire fleet of Legion.
And the thing is, she's going after the commanding units, not like all the basic units. No, she's she's like, nope, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah, and no, I take that back for a second. Shin is the one that was using the pinpoint to take out the fleets. But yeah, Karina, she starts going from sniper point to sniper point, pinpointing commanders and taking them out in one or two shots. I was like, girl, you rock.
And then we see Andrew with a rocket barrage of like, no fucks.
Yep.
And she hits every single one of them. You're gone.
Yeah, as Karina says, I'll take out the commanders. Raiden's just like, roger that, I'll focus on the little ones. And he starts mowing through forces too. Theo jumps in, starts providing cover. Shin goes completely batshit crazy with the Vibram Blade. Oh my god, this is the single best moment of combat we have had in 2 seasons.
Yes, it's just beautiful to see their abilities, but to their full potential, not like how because we've seen them fight in the past, but nothing to this caliber. But also, having the units they have that are more durable, more agile, helps them, shows their full potential technically.
Yeah.
And Shin is like a little grasshopper. Blade into blade. And then you get the one guy in one of the bulkier units. It's like, you managed to drive off the first wave of the Legion attackers. It's like, and we'll take care of the rest here. Shin's like, no. There's more coming. Well, we'll go take care of them. You help the others.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the screen just fill up with other Reagan Leafs. So there's other people that have been trained, and they're no joke either. Because as it starts and the Shin goes out and they start attacking all these legions, it pops over to the general for a bit, and we see the screen of, well, not even the screen first. We just see them all line up on this rail track, and they just start.
No. Before we even get to that, as Shin is telling this commander, I'm not going to back off. We're going to go take out the second squad, which is the main unit of the invasion. And he kills the transmission to the other guy. He radios into the rest of 86 and goes, you guys heard all that. If you want to stay alive, follow me. And they start tear-assing down that track.
It's just not
86. He calls the rest of Nordlich. I'm sorry. He calls the rest of Nordlich and says, if you guys want to stay alive, follow me. And they start tearing ass down this track.
Yeah, and you see them all lining up, taking out unit after unit.
And I love the fact that we're intercut now over to the supply depot back at the main base. And we're watching Frederica watch the engineers and the technicians in the supply depots, load up all these troop trucks full of ammunition, supplies, ration, whatever they need for the front field. And the girl that is leading the whole thing, she straight up calls out, if Fido has to come back, do not make Fido come back here to get
Fido.
It is our job to take that stuff to them.
And Fido is the main only to support Shin.
Yeah.
Fido is not to give any fucks on anyone else. That's literally the words that have come right out of that.
And I love this moment. I love the fact that we're finally getting to see our squad, our 86 that we have come to love, and connect with so much throughout the series so far.
Not just
finally
them, but
getting
it's also
the support that they need.
Yes, the support they need, but also it still blows my mind to see the other Geod units that have been able to actually train to the degree and be able to, because they rip through those legions as Shin and the rest do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now let's not ignore the fact that Nordlich itself is comprised of our group of 86. it's our Elite 86. But underneath them, we do have advanced fighters of elites who are going out and just tearing-assing as much. Not as much as the 86, but they're still kicking ass and taking names.
But we see it really deeply on how trained this unit is, because it changes over to the command center and we see the display of the Norlich unit, and we see the legions just slowly backing up and getting taken out as they're backing up.
Yeah. A handful of 6 to 10 units are taking out these droves and droves
it's not even six,
of legions.
It's like give or take from a glimpse, 20, maybe 20 units, give or take right here.
Was it about 20?
A little more, maybe. From the little glance, if you're looking at the episode, it's 2340 is the timestamp.
Okay, yeah.
Give or take 20 units right there.
Yeah, but even still, this comparatively handful of units taking out an entire fleet of Legion is nothing short but amazing.
Yeah.
But I love that, as this combat, continues and...
Ooh, no, the words that even come about, they are monsters.
Yeah. But, we keep intercutting here between the combat and Frederica.
Yes.
And Frederica, she's trying to focus and compose herself, and she was just like, if only I knew where Kiri was, I could help them. And then we see her open her eyes and her ability kicks in, and she gets this vision of Kiria's Shepherd Legion unit.
And then the next strip is the flag of San Magnolia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 5-color flag and the fall of the Grand Mirror. Mm-hmm. And she was just like, oh, that's where he is.
She doesn't know this exactly
we cut back.
At the time.
Yeah. Well, she might.
Well, no, because of the words she says later on kind of tells me that she doesn't. But going into that, it's like after the 5-color flag and all the stuff we've just explained, it jumps back over to Federica, and she's trying to get hold of Shin during this whole time. And then eventually her ability kicks in. She finds Shin's unit. She sees him fighting, and then it zooms into Shin exactly, and she sees the expression that's on his face while he's in the unit.
Yeah, that calm, sociopathic face.
And we see a piece of glass just break, or actually, a hole pops through his unit and cuts his cheek. And
yeah, one of his entire
no.
Yeah, it's one of his monitors on his console blows out, and the shards just start cutting underneath his eyeball. And right near his eyelid, his lower eyelid. And he just has that look of psychopathic calm on his face. And Frederica loses her mind because this is the same look, and we even get interspliced with Kiria here. This is the same look Kiria had when he lost his mind and went on a killing spree.
Yep. And the rest of the unit hears Federica and the tone she has as she's calling out the Shin. They're taking a breather at the moment, and they notice something's not right. But Raiden, that look he has is kind of like he knows, but he doesn't. A lot of times he just lets Shin do what he does.
Yeah, but I don't know. The feeling I'm getting from the rest of the group here is, Shin is single-handedly taking out this group of Legion. We've got Lowe's. We've got just basic drones. We've got, it looked like at least one commander.
They know he's pushing himself too
formation.
Far.
And they just have this look of
worry,
shit on their face. Like they've never seen him go this hard, this fast.
Yeah, because he's never been in a unit that's able to handle the way he pushes it.
Mm-hmm.
And even the scenes they give us throughout this whole moment of when the rest of the gang seeing their worry and they're seeing the way he's taking out units. And even on the monitor, it's showing, oh, this is going to take drop, 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 drop. And then eventually he's fighting a low. It catches to the point where it takes out one of his legs and he gets flipped.
Oh, no, that wasn't a low. I think that was a shepherd.
It was?
I'm pretty sure that was a shepherd that he was fighting at that moment because it reminded me of his brother's unit. But...
he takes it out, but then this is when everything kind of kicks him in the face.
Well, this is intense. This is psychologically intense, like even for somebody watching this, because he goes just into this completely zoned out, psychotic, killing spree state. And when everything is said and done, he snaps out of it. He realizes, oh shit, I haven't taken a breath in God knows when, and he starts hyperventilating because he hasn't breathed in probably the last 10 minutes of kicking.
Yeah,
it feels like.
And then he figures out the cut that's on right below his eye.
Mm-hmm. He's like, why is there blood in my cheek and why does my eye hurt? and he's ordered to return to base along with the rest of the unit.
And as they're marching back, Federica is out there, and she's banging on Shin's unit to open up. And you see the dreary, what she's seen before. And she's worried about Shin. And she even calls it out, "You fool."
Yeah, you're just like Kiri.
She goes in, he puts his hand on her, pats her head, and to that, it's really rough because you see because it pans over to Shin, and you see there's enough water on the ground that it kind of mirrors the look on his face.
Yeah, we see his reflection in the puddle.
It's kind of a sad look.
I think Shin knows what's happening to him.
Yeah,
it's one of those. So here's how I look at it. And now keep in mind, I'm not like a psych major or a professional.
None of us are.
Any of that shit. So take this with a grain of salt or whatever as just an anime fan. But in my opinion, what this looks like is Shin knows the effect that that his abilities and his instincts have on him in combat. So that grin that we get, when he gets ready to go into combat like we did in this episode, is him knowing I can take out as many of these people as I want and walk away with barely a scratch. I've been doing it for years. I can keep doing it. But at the same time,
I would say he got very dang lucky in this fight.
He did because he is reckless. It goes right back to what they said at the beginning of the first season. He is reckless, but it's not him intentionally being reckless.
I will say in best terms to sum up what Shin is when it comes to combat, he is a berserker.
Yes.
And if anyone doesn't know what a berserker is, it is one that goes into combat and fights and fights and fights, feels no pain whatsoever, and keeps going.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that regards. But, it's once the combat's over with that everything catches up to him and hits him like a Mack truck.
Yes.
And this is when he starts to realize, okay, maybe I went a little too far, maybe I went a little too hard, I've scared all my friends, I've worried people, and he starts to feel bad about it. But at the same time, he's just like, this is what I have to do to protect everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And to win.
And the little the clips over to the Reaper logo on his unit, where there's a hole at the neck.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually still framed on that image as we were talking, and I was just like, geez, that freaking bullet hole right at the neck. I was like, this is just
because there's no head.
Again, yeah, I mean, the series has done amazing things with imagery and foreshadowing, and it makes me wonder, just how far this confrontation is going to push him.
Yeah, and then it pops over to his brothers, the one he cut out of his brother's unit when he passed.
Yeah, because his pocket, that his brother's plate with his name carved in it, the pocket is torn, so we see the plate in his pocket, which I'm assuming is probably what he was staring at when he was getting into the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looked like a picture, but I couldn't quite make it out.
And then it jumps over to the title card, "Even so." Those two words sum up this whole situation in this first 3/4 of an episode.
Yeah, and the fact that title card came in at the 3/4 mark as opposed to like the halfway mark. Oh my god, like what else could we possibly be in store for at this point, I'm like, slow it down. Let's pump some brakes. Turn it down to 33 1/3, please. Like,
and
I can't take much more of this.
All 86 processors, the Sledgehammer Combat Commander Blackbird has been taken out. He's pretty much giving a distress signal to Sagminoia, but also the other processors are also 86 that we know them by. Mm-hmm. The bridge gets blown. Other legions are crawling forward. And then you hear an alert at the main headquarters. The others are taking it as like, what is that? Cut it off. But Lena is like, oh, it's time.
Yeah, and hey, guess what? We're back to Lena, finally!
Yes, and I love this transition, though, because it kind of fits into, because we knew that the Federation was preparing. Lena herself was preparing, and we find out what that preparation was.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, like, I knew she was preparing, I knew she was monitoring the situation, I knew she was gathering up resources and intel, but the degree that she reveals in this segment of the episode, I was in shock.
But before we go into that, the situation where her uncle grabs her by the arm as she's rushing to her command unit. And she even calls out to Annette, Cyclops. Those two people are the first two people she reaches out to. And then as she's grabbed by
General Karlstall. But let's point out to the fact that Lena is so done with everybody in San Magnolia that she doesn't call him Uncle Jerome in this minute. She calls him General Karlstall.
Yep.
Because she has had it with the military-industrial complex at this point.
And before we go into more detail, Annette and Cyclops are hearing everything that's being said right now between this time frame before she connects back to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as she was reaching back, when he grabbed her hand, I think she was reaching back to turn off, the Pararade until she got to her control room. Mm. And so we see that nice little glow of the ring showing that they're still connected with, with telecommunication here.
And he even says the 86 will never fight for the Republic.
Yeah, because it's at this moment when she addresses General Karlstall, she flat out says, I'm bringing all squadrons from all areas inside the Grand Mirror to build a defensive line before the Legion reaches District 1. Mm-hmm. And my jaw went through the floor. I was like, this woman thinks she's going to pull every single 86 to the center of San Magnolia to stand as a defensive line.
Like, even with
that's ballsy.
It's ballsy, but also we know between the reputation, obviously nobody besides the Cyclops students knows the whole part or the whole thing with Shin, the original the Spearhead unit before Cyclops and them. Uh-huh. Also going into what the time that Cyclops had. Who knows what they've spread out about Lena in this meantime? Because they're also preparing. So obviously the other units are going to learn about Lena.
Yeah, and I mean, as we learned, in the first season, units and squads of 86 are being broken up and remeshed all the time. This person will go from here to here, and this person will go from here to here. And so they're moving all these pawns around between units all the time. And all it takes is a little bit of word of mouth from somebody that you relatively trust. Mm-hmm. To get you on one side of the fence or the other.
And the officers and commanders are being called to the command office. And before the general walks off, we don't notice it before, but he puts his cap on and he grabs a gun that's been leaning against the staircase. And he even says, children will wake up from their dream and it's an adult's job to protect her. Or the words that come from his mouth before he walks off.
Yeah, she makes the case that those that came before her, referring to Shin and Raiden, Theo, Anju, and Karina, they fought for what they believed. And she was like, I'm not willing to just sit here and give up and just wait to die. If I'm going to fail and die, I'm going to fight until that moment comes.
Mm-hmm. And it's the life they gave her.
Yeah.
And as she's walking off, she calls him uncle one last time. And she actually salutes him as he's walking off and calls good luck, General. She walks up the stairs.
And Uncle Jerome says, if I can do anything, I can at least buy you some time. And he says, it's time for you to be crushed as you watch your naive dreams shatter against reality. And this is, in my opinion, this is his indifferent way of saying, I plan to back you up all along, but just know that you are naive. This is foolish. It's probably not going to work, but I've got your back.
Pretty much all the actions we've seen him with him and the things he said is pretty much a cover for himself to be able to stay in the position he's in.
Yeah. I mean, or else he wouldn't have given her that quick back glance.
Mm-hmm. It's like your time.
Yeah, that's a glance back at, you have a small window of time. Do what you can do. I'm going to do what I can do. But one way or another, he's probably getting taken out of the equation. Whether it's, a discharge or a death.
He's not coming back. And I have a feeling it's going to be a death.
Yeah, that glance, most likely.
And when Lena gets into the command center to command everybody, we see this little piece that's kind of a half circle with horns.
It looks the best way like to describe a crown.
Yeah. She places it on. Pararade, activate. Synchronization target. All processors.
All processors. And my face, I'm not going to lie, my face in this moment, I went, what the fuck? As that screen exploded with connectivity systems and said synchronization complete to hundreds of 86 processor units. And I was like, oh my God.
the preparation that has been put into place, because Bloody Ryaga to all processors in all combat
Bloody
areas.
Regina. Yeah, Bloody Regina.
A large-scale Legion offensive has begun to gather within the 85 districts and begin combat. All personnel within the National Defense HQ. And then we also see the people that inside of San Magnolia that have been agreeing, that have been part of Lena's whole objective.
Mm-hmm.
Even Annette at this moment, when we really didn't know how she felt about everything. It's like, let's fight to the end. Or the last words before it goes to the end credits.
Like I was in I was in sensory overload by the time those credits started.
What makes it worse is like the first two credit transitions is black text, then the card that was in Shin's unit before the whole battle began.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the image of the torn pocket with his brother's plate. Mm-hmm. And then we see an image of Shin in front of a window.
Yep. And then it goes into the after credits. And this is where Frederica explains, what I saw was a shattered wall and a burning 5-colored flag.
And a huge legion. And even Theo says, so what's this mean? They're inside the 85 districts? And everybody's thinking everybody thinks that it's over for the Republic at this point. They're already inside the walls.
Yeah. It's like, no, now he's... And Shin sees the reaction, and Frederica does as well. It's like, get down, Carrie is, and that's it.
No, that's not it. That's not it. What happens in this moment? What happens in this moment is as soon as that vision pops up with the red eyes and the blue face, screaming, "I'll kill you!" and they react, Shin turns around and dives to protect Frederica.
Yeah. And then the title card.
What was Frederica saying that entire first 3 quarters of the show was, "You are just like Kiri."
Yeah, but Shin has more, even though it's bad to say, but Shin has more of a ground because of the people around him.
He does, and I think that's going to be. I think we're going to see as this story progresses and reaches its climax and conclusion, is we're going to see, I think that's going to be the turning point for Shin, is the fact of, yes, he is just as broken and psychotic as Kiryu was in those fits of combat when he just becomes psychotic and numb and just kills without mercy, but he has enough personal connection with his friends and everybody else that he can pull himself back from that when he has to.
Yes. It's pretty much that when he's in that cockpit, that's when things go down. That when he's out of it, he's the Shin we see now.
Yeah. I think that kind of plays back to what happened at the end of season 1 when he was in that final confrontation with his brother.
Yeah.
When he pushes and pushes and pushes himself to the point of he is in that psychotic berserker state. And it pushes him to the point of exhaustion and almost death because of the fight and the damage he takes. But what is it that gets him to come back? It's Lena's voice. It's his personal connection that restoked those fires and brings him back to it. It gets his head back in the game so he can overcome.
Yeah. I'm hating it that I'm not going to be part of next week's episode. I am really hating it.
Yeah, so just as a special heads up for all of our lovely listeners out there, next week, Rainwolf and Wonder Llama will be wrapping up their time at NekoCon. So Rainwolf will not be part of our show next week. Asuna, who wasn't here tonight, may also not be a part of it, depending on what she has going on. So next week, it will be myself, Kirito Silverheart, and a very special guest,
TN
podcaster
Hemi.
And discusser, TN Hemi from Twitch. So he's a close personal friend of ours, and he has been very, very excited for 86 ever since he started watching it. And I think, what is it, Wolf? We talk to him almost every week after the podcast.
Yeah.
So I know he's excited. We're excited to have him on the show. So this is going to be a fun time next week, and I cannot wait to see what happens. This is...
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that he's being part of it, because with the way 86 is going right now, one person's coverage, because that's what it was going to be. It was just going to be Kirito for next week, but since TN Hemi is actually watching, he's a very good friend, and he's been paying attention to it as well. He will be a good addition to have a bounce off of for the next episode. Definitely if it goes the way we think it's going.
Yeah, exactly. So look forward to that, everybody. It's gonna be a very amped, energetic episode.
As well as this week. So once again, I really think that's what we can cover to the point from here for 86 this week. So once again, me and Wonder Llama will be at NecoCon, as Kirito said. Look out for the footage that'll be coming out from there. And once again, I am Rainwolf.
I'm Kirito Silverheart.
Leave a like, comment, maybe even subscribe. And until next time.
Bye.